Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been questioned about his contentious views on vaccines before a vote on whether he can take up a job in Donald Trump's cabinet. Our North America correspondent Carrington Clark joins us from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Carrington, good morning. What did Mr. Kennedy have to say about vaccines?
RFK Jr. is a scion of one of America's most celebrated Democratic political families. He's the nephew of JFK and he's the son of the former Attorney General RFK. But he has been nominated by Republican Donald Trump to be the Secretary of the Health and Human Services Department here in the United States. This is a huge department. It has a budget of $2.7 trillion in Australian terms and oversees such critical things as whether or not foods are up for sale, whether or not how the health system operates, and perhaps most critically when it comes to RFK Jr., whether or not vaccines are deemed to be safe enough to be given to people. Today, he faced a grilling from the Democrat members of this committee who said that his previous skepticism about vaccines means that he's totally inappropriate for this critical role, and RFK Jr. gave his own robust defense of his suitability.
The receipts show that Mr. Kennedy has embraced conspiracy theories, quacks, charlatans, especially when it comes to the safety and efficacy of vaccines. He has made it his life's work to sow doubt and discourage parents from getting their kids life-saving vaccines.
In my advocacy, I've often disturbed the status quo by asking uncomfortable questions. Well, I'm not going to apologize for that. We have massive health problems in this country that we must face honestly.
Yesterday, it was the cousin of RFK Jr., Caroline Kennedy. She's the daughter of former President JFK. Also importantly, she was the former ambassador to Australia who described her cousin as a predator and totally unfit for the job. RFK Jr. will face a second grilling tomorrow, but the crucial question is whether or not the Republican Party will stay united and support him for this job.
On another issue, Carrington, it seems the White House, which of course is still moving in and getting back into the new Trump administration, has rescinded an order to freeze federal funds.
Well, it's very confusing, actually, what's happened here. So there was this executive order from the president freezing federal funds for grants and loans. This caused a huge amount of confusion here in the United States, particularly for those organizations that rely upon federal funds about whether or not they would receive their cash. We then had a court order that seemed to order that freeze to be overturned. And now today we've had the press secretary of the Donald Trump administration say that actually the order hasn't been overturned, but the memo accompanying the order has been overturned. There is huge confusion about what this means. The court order yesterday meant that that freeze hasn't gone into place anyway, but it's still very unclear exactly what the Donald Trump administration is trying to do about this. But Donald Trump 2.0 is looking a lot like Donald Trump 1.0 in terms of how it's operating with the bureaucracy and the clarity that they're not particularly getting at this point.